Let me tell you about the principle of one thing. Say one thing. This principle says this. This principle says you do one thing every day, no matter how small, that moves you toward your goal. Do one thing every day, no matter how small, that moves you toward your goal. And here's what you must understand. A little bit extra, repeated every day, makes a huge difference over the long haul. A drop every day will eventually amass into a large amount of water. You see what happens is you get your vision and you get your goal and you write it down and you make it clear, you give it definition, you provide detail to it, and you do this with whatever your goal is. It can be your health, your energy levels, your body, your relationships, your friendships, your romantic life, your ministry, your gifts, your callings, your dreams, your money, your career. You start drilling these things down. How are you going to earn a living? What would light your fire and pay you to do it at the same time? You refine it. You put detail to it. Then you do one thing every day that moves you toward your goal. Now, there's times that you'll have to change your approach. There's times that what you're doing will not work and you need to adapt. There's times that what has worked at one level and when you get to another, it will no longer work at another level. You have to change your approach. There will be setbacks. Setbacks are to be expected. There'll be times that there's failures. There'll be times that enemies come and that they oppose you and talk bad about you. There'll be times that you hit a wall. But no matter what, you do one thing every day. And you determine that you'll not quit. And what happens when you do not quit of doing one thing every day that moves you toward your goal, then you will experience compound interest on your investments. There will be a large return on that. You see, something happens when you do one thing. And there will be a time, if you keep doing that one thing, over time you will not recognize the person in the mirror. You build habits. You build the habit of winning. You build momentum. You build consistency. When you do one thing every day, small wins turn into big wins. Consistency and momentum change your life. And here's a hard truth. Most people that have big dreams fail at achieving their goals. When you're ambitious, what happens is there's a temptation to take shortcuts. You see, everyone, if you're ambitious or not, you will have failures. You will have setbacks. But you've got to maintain your character, and you've got to consistently say, you know what, I'm going to take the stairs instead of looking for an elevator. Here's why. Because when you start looking for a shortcut, when you face a difficulty, when you face a setback, when you face a failure, and we all do, then what happens is you develop a sense of urgency and a sense of impending failure. And so what happens is when you get the opportunity at bat again, you're thinking you've got to hit a home run. And so what happens is you're swinging harder and harder and harder because there's a more desperation to it, and you're trying to hit a home run. And the reality is the harder you swing, the more likely it is you're going to strike out. You see, you got to understand that you work the process. You got to understand that success, the rent is due every day for success. You got to understand that there is no elevators, there's only stairs. And you've got to take the stairs every day. And you've got to understand that there is a process. I have a video, it kind of has an avalanche going. You see, what happens is what you're doing is you're building a snowball. And things begin to snowball. And it doesn't feel like you're doing anything of any real significance. But what happens is it reaches a tipping point when the small things that you're doing begins to add up. And there's a force that begins to take place that is larger than you, that is bigger than you, that does more than you can. And there's a force that's larger than you, pushing you along the way. You see, but it starts when you're paying attention to the details that no one else is paying attention to. It starts when you are doing the small things and you hit a tipping point and the force begins to overtake you. It starts with being faithful with the details over a long period of time. You know, all the time we see people and we see the success they have and we've seen the victories we have, but we haven't seen the dark days. We haven't seen the days that they were looking into the clouds trying to find the sun through the raindrops. You see, you've got to be faithful in the small things and doing the right things and doing things right over the long term. And there will be an avalanche that will follow you.